Welcome to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the Town of Barnstable, a podcast where you can meet the people who steward the programs and services for the Town of Barnstable that connects us to our quality of life. We invite you to join the conversation as we navigate municipal government and our community pathways to help you discover Barnstable. I'm Liz Hartsgrove, and today I am joined with my fellow co-host and tour guide, Paula Hersey. Hello.
Hi, Liz.
Hi. Today is really exciting. We have two guests with us, the HR Director, Bill Cole, and Assistant HR Director, Tammy Cunningham. And they're going to talk to us about the advantages of having a career, not just a job, but a career with the town. It's really important that we have that separation between those two phrases. It is not a job. We definitely support careers here. Bill is currently the HR director and holds a Bachelor of Science in Political Science in Masters of PA, Public Administration. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
Good. And Tammy, she originally began her municipal profession in '96 with the Town of Yarmouth, so we have that to share because I also was a former employee with the Town of Yarmouth, but she came here in 2005 and holds a Bachelor's of Science and Master's in also Public Administration with a focus on human resources from Suffolk University. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Liz.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. So again, careers versus jobs, and we have a lot of jobs here, right? It's amazing, the variety of jobs that we have here.
Right. The scope of industry that a town actually encompasses is mind-boggling. I'm coming up on 4 years. Tammy interviewed me. One of the things that I have learned over the past 4 years is that any career that you can have in the private sector, you can have and make a difference here in the public sector. Bill, I think one of the things that we first kind of want to maybe set the table with for folks is define the town as an organization, and what departments does that incorporate? There's the senior center or the Barnstable Adult Community Center. 3 years later, we're still trying to get that acronym back. There's the Department of Public Works. There's seasonal. There's full-time, part-time. Give us the skinny on what employment means in the town of Barnstable.
Well, thanks, Paula, and thank you for having us here today. I think it's very important to get this message out. But the town of Barnstable, as you alluded to, is just a rather large organization, and there's so many different facets that people often, they don't realize what it is. And you talked about some of them, the Department of Public Works, but even within that, you have a sewer treatment plant, you have a water company, you have landscaping, buildings, you have highway, you have engineering, survey. All of these different things that you would have a job in the private sector doing are all under the umbrella of Public Works. We have a police department. We have a school department with all that entails with, teaching, being a teacher, being a paraprofessional, support staff. So that's another major area that we have. We run a municipal airport. So anyone who's interested in aviation, there's a home for you here. So all of these different things, then you get into more of the support services like administrative services where human resources is located, finance, legal, IT, so all of those traditional careers you could have with the town of Barnstable. And community services, if you enjoy being working with the community, working with children, working with the seniors, that department is there. Our licensing department, there's so many different areas. So that's why we strive in Barnstable to be not only an employer of choice if you want to work for government, but just an employer of choice if you want to work in your career field. You belong in Barnstable.
Right.
That's impressive. The advantage of working in a community really is just so gratifying, really, because you actually get to see not just your own organization be impacted in a positive manner, but you get to see the 48,000 individuals see the positives of those things. So, but that doesn't include just, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not just full-time employees, right? So there's options for even seasonal or part-time work here too, right?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have your traditional full-time work,
Yeah.
but then also we have seasonal employment, and a lot of our recreation programs are seasonal in nature with the summer. So you could be in the aquatics program, lifeguarding, you could do camps, a whole host of other areas. So it's not necessarily just full-time, but with seasonal, it's a great way for a young person to get involved in the community, get involved in local government. And, I've been here 21 years, and I've seen that path where someone started as a seasonal, worked their way up, and now they're a full-time employee with the town. So absolutely, there's plenty of different opportunities available.
And it's something that really people should showcase on their resumes, that they worked for such a large and very highly respected organization, a municipality organization such as Barnstable. I think that's just incredible, I think.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about some of that seasonality, because, oh my gosh, it will be summer again very soon. Tammy, talk a little bit about those opportunities. Bill touched on like the ones that come to top of mind, right? Recreation is always one of them. The other one that always comes to my mind is that natural resources piece of it. So give us a scope of what seasonal type of employment opportunities are here.
Sure. And we actually have many posted right now. So if anybody is looking for a seasonal position, they are posted. We have a large amount of opportunity right now in our recreation division. So if you're looking to work in aquatics, if you're looking to be selling beach stickers, working as a gate attendant, they are open and available for certainly applying at this time. And for marine environmental affairs, we're looking for, individuals to work at Sandy Neck. So it could be assisting at the gatehouse. It could be out on the beach. I know a lot of individuals are already always interested in the turtle monitor position.
That's me.
Which
I'm going to be a turtle monitor.
That's what everybody says. One day they're coming back as a turtle monitor. Out at our, certainly at our ramps, and, out there on the waterways, we're always looking for individuals to assist out there in their operations, because we do have so many harbors that we do need assistance with working for the season.
Right, and I think one of the things that we've noticed here when you work in town hall during the summer is our landscaping crews are the hardest working crews out there. We see there's an enormous amount of opportunity to get in. Do we have those positions available too? I mean, we have so many town properties that need to be maintained over a seasonal.
Absolutely. So we have seasonal laborers that come in the spring and the summertime to help us prepare the beaches, and then throughout the summer to continue to maintain all of our parks. And all that accompany our grounds. I do want to include also golf division because we have a tremendous amount of seasonal positions in our golf division. So if you're looking to be a golf starter, if you're looking to work in the pro shop, as well as be a ranger, we do have golf positions available as well.
Right, and these positions, when you think about this, now it's not just that, college kid coming home, right? These positions are open to basically everybody. I mean, I could put my 70-year-old retired husband, he could sit at Calmus for the day, couldn't he?
Sounds like a good job.
Well, I think, though, that's the beauty of working in an organization such as Barnstable, is that you do get that variety. You get that wealth of experience from, multiple generations and different backgrounds that can just add to making the programs that much better, because they have all of that experience and variations of perspectives that really, and I think you talk about being in Barnstable and the Barnstable way. I think that is really what it sums up, because our backgrounds are very different, unique individuals, and we're all working together in towards an objective and goal, and it's very impressive. So
right. And private sector to public sector, you can come in and as your first jobs into the public sector and get your feet wet and learn a bunch of things. But I'm I think a lot of us are opposite, where we've come from the private sector into the public sector. Can you talk about how applicants can kind of set themselves up? A lot of people say, well, I don't think I can actually do government work. We're pretty innovative, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't like necessarily the term government work because, as I had mentioned before, you would happen to be a surveyor that works for the Town of Barnstable or an architect that happens to work for the Town of Barnstable. So I think that if you are good in your profession, you can apply here and have a successful career. And you're right, a lot of people have switched from the private sector to the public sector because the strength that we have is not only do you get to be an architect, surveyor, accountant, whatever it is, you get to do it for local government, which again is my favorite level of government, and that's why I work in it, is because you get to see what you do, the impact it has every single day. And I think that's the strength of working in local government. And as hokey as it sounds, when I was in college, my goal was to work for the town that I lived in. And it took me a little while, but I got there. And I think that's important, is that you have that, you further your career, but also you do good. You give back to the community. You make this as a place where people want to come and vacation or raise their family. So I think it's just more than, quote unquote, a government job.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's huge. So Tammy, when you talk about, you've talked about the seasonal opportunities right now that are available, as well as we have a wide range of year-round full-time positions that also are available. Where can people look, and what exactly do they need to submit so they have an opportunity to be considered?
So to locate our open positions, one is going to go to the Town of Barnstable website, which is town.barnstable.ma.us. It stumps me every time because it's so long. And then they're going to click employment, and they're going to see a whole host of positions that are open right now, and they can select the job title. And from there, it's going to say start application, and they can select start application, and they will create a profile. It's mobile friendly, so they can do it from their phone. One could do it from their desktop or their iPad if they choose, and they will create a profile, and that will live with them so they can apply for the position. But then in addition to, they can go back and add applications for other positions that are open. So it's very easy.
That's very helpful. You don't have to go anymore to the building to find out where and search the papers and search the openings or even the legal ads anymore. You can go right on the town's website, and it's handed to you, all of that, and it becomes basically your own little database. Is that right?
That's correct.
Wow.
So one can go in, upload their entire profile. So they're, for one to be successful in applying, they would want to complete a full application. I love seeing cover letters because I think it gives a depth of an individual. It kind of gives you insight as to who they are, why they're interested in the position, kind of what makes them tick and why they really want to work for us. And then uploading a resume is incredibly helpful as well.
Right, so they have to actually get the full application in first. The resume and cover letter aren't necessarily the only thing that you can apply with. You do have to have that application filled out.
That's correct.
Yeah, right. That's really helpful. But that cover letter, I can see what you're saying is that it really shines in developing and showcasing the person's personality and gives them gives you the opportunity to dive into them a little bit better. And that's really important because that's what we're hiring, our individuals, and it's not just to fill in a position. It's to really make sure that they match well with the organization and making sure that we can support them to grow and develop. That's wonderful. So,
skill sets. So, we all look to our own experiences of, what we can bring to the table when we apply for a job. But as hiring managers, when you're looking through these cover letters and these resumes, are there specific types of skills? In the human resource world, we use the word soft skills and hard skills. One of the soft skills that I know the town of Barnstable really does pride themselves on is customer service. We're very in tune to making sure that every resident and visitor to our town has a good customer service experience. But are there hard and soft skills that you're looking for as hiring managers, and how do people set themselves up for success when they're applying for a position?
Okay, I'll take that one. I think that you correctly identified. Customer service is kind of one of the core things that we do in the town, and it's the nature of government, is that we're here to provide a service to our residents and visitors. So we look for customer service. We look for someone who is able to, hopefully through their cover letter, show that they understand what it means to work for government and work for the town. That they understand that this isn't a typical private sector job. So they communicate that through their cover letter. But someone who communicates well, someone who, depending on the job, there's certain technical requirements that you have to meet. So if you're able to get those out early in the cover letter, that makes it easier for the screener to say, oh yes, they check the boxes for these things. So I think that's important. But just showing that you understand what it means to be working for local government or government in general, that you have those skills, you understand customer service, you're a good communicator, you're understanding that it's part of a team effort, so it's not just an individual contributor, that you're part of a larger group, larger team. So those are the kind of things that we want to see. And if someone is a non-traditional applicant with their background, highlight that and also kind of connect it. Draw the connection to why it still makes sense for you to be in this position. So it's all about the cover letter. It's all about communicating that information.
Right. And one of the things that I noticed through the hiring process that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop is the amount of time it takes to get hired to local government. There's a couple of different factors for that when positions become open. Tammy, can you really talk a little bit about the time frame for getting positions out to the public? For those who don't know, the Town of Barnstable is a union organization. We have several unions throughout the organization. So there's some criteria that we have to meet to get open positions to the public. Give us a sense of the time frame of how that works for applicants.
Sure. So as you already mentioned, a majority of our workforce is unionized, which means we have posting requirements that we must adhere to in our collective bargaining agreements with each of the unions. And so we start first with it being posted to the union, and if we do not have a candidate that applies within that time frame, it would then go forward to being open to the House, which is the remainder of the workforce that's not in that particular union, as well as to the public. And that time frame could be 21 to 30 days or open until filled, depending upon the skill set in the applicant pool. And so it really depends upon, the position that one is applying for and kind of where that time frame is as to how long it could be before one is hired for the position. Obviously, all of our positions are critical to the operational needs, and so we do our best to have somebody come in as soon as possible. But having said that, we want to make sure that we adhere to the collective bargaining agreement and that we're very respective and doing our due diligence with the process to make sure that we're getting the right applicant for each position that we have.
And actually, if I could just jump in on that, the one thing I've always heard is you've got to know someone to get in on the town, or why is it posted, or what's the real story. And I can tell you there is no real story. But if it is, if someone sees a posting on our website, it has gone through all of the internal hurdles. So it is legitimately an open, competitive process. So don't hesitate to apply. If you see it on the website as open to the public, it truly is open to the public. And we've exhausted those internal union criteria that Tammy had talked about. So don't hesitate to apply.
Right. There seems to be a lot of folks out there. COVID has created the Great Resignation, but also attrition in this particular local government as an industry of employment. How do you, as hiring managers, manage this process with, I don't want to say lack of applicants, but the ability to have people fill positions? We've had a lot of people retire over the last year and a half. More retirements are on the way. So, I'm curious, how do you manage that? I would imagine for me it would be very stressful to say, how are we going to fill all these jobs? But there must be some method to the types of things that you're doing, using Indeed and some other types of products out there to get those jobs out there.
Well, certainly monitoring this very carefully, because you're right, and this is a conversation that's happening nationwide,
right.
With the Great Resignation and all of these companies vying for the same pool of applicants. And here on the Cape, I think we're even a little bit more challenged because we do have a very defined geographical location. And so it's really, I think for organizations to be successful, it's going to be succession planning, looking at your already internal working infrastructure and seeing what do we have for internal applicants that could potentially move into other positions or be promoted. It's really putting the organization out there like we're doing here in this conversation to let everyone know who we are, what we do, and what we represent, and hopefully them having an interest in, coming to work for us. But it's really just kind of continuing to go on with recruitment efforts through ZipRecruiter, making sure that we've got positions that perhaps if they need very particular technical expertise, we're going ahead and aligning with different organizations that can highlight and promote those types of different positions. So there's all sorts of ways that we could attract, but it is definitely a challenging time to recruit applicants at this time.
Yeah, it's even just emphasizes or amplifies the fact that we do invest actually in our employees, and the majority of the employees that work here in the town have worked for exorbitant amount of years, and they're invested. Like you said, Bill, it's part of their community. They want to be something more than just a job. It's a career. It's part of just bettering the whole community. Speaking of which, we just had Patty Machado retire, and how many years was she employed by the town?
Over 40.
Yeah, that's incredible. And even our town manager, he's worked here for how many years?
I was told there'd be no math.
Okay, well, no math. I'm so sorry.
But I think he's been here over 30, probably 34, 35.
Right, and that right there is a wonderful example of how you can shift and move up and develop yourself, and then just it's not a one-stop shop here. It is offering a lot more, and that's something that not a lot of employers can offer.
Right.
Yeah, right, and just the two examples that you gave, all kidding aside, Patty Machado started as a seasonal, and she worked her way up from a seasonal all the way to be the director of recreation. Mark L. started as a project engineer.
Yeah.
And worked his way up and switched from DPW to town administration, and now is the town manager. So, and they're not unique stories. There are a lot of people that have come in and through bettering themselves, opportunities that have presented themselves to them, they're in positions of leadership, positions of influence in the town. And I think maybe one silver lining in the Great Resignation is it's kind of cleared the deck for the next generation of individuals to move up and take those opportunities. So I think that's something to consider as well.
Well, and you just tapped into, it's not actually just influencing or impacting just Barnstable. Barnstable's on the map as far as being a leader in the state as well as nationally. So it's a floor that you can really capture, or what's the word I'm looking for? We're the benchmark for a lot of, not just the Cape, but the whole state and nationally, for a lot of these projects and things that we're working on here.
Yeah, and that brought up a point. You'd used the word invest, Bill. How does the town of Barnstable invest in their employees?
Well, in numerous ways. The direct investment is that through providing opportunities for in-house training, in-house education, we also partner with outside facilities such as Suffolk University, Mass Municipal Association, so that they can go and seek certifications, they can go and get their master's degree, with a kind of a sharing of costs between the town and the employee. We encourage our employees to become members in professional organizations so they can better themselves through that. So it's really about helping them be the best they can be, because when they're the best, it helps us be the best. And when they're out there, they're representing themselves, but they're also representing the town of Barnstable. So we always try to invest in education, professional development, professional organizations, and then also giving them opportunities to serve on task force or working groups within the town, so it gives them a chance to kind of broaden outside of their silo, and give them a chance to kind of spread their wings and grow, and maybe take a different career path but stay with the town.
Right, and one of the things that I've noticed as an employee here in the town is that there are opportunities to diversify. There's innovation happening here. You mentioned wastewater off the top. Some of the designs, the design and the plan, the comprehensive wastewater plan was done in house. By the engineers that work for the town. That's something that other towns don't really have. They don't have the population or the town government size to be able to facilitate something like that. But being large like we are, we have those opportunities.
Right, absolutely. And I think that, to your point, when we were advertising for some of the engineering positions that we have to bring on because of the wastewater management plan, that was one of the major selling points, is that if you start with us, this is a multi-decade program that's 1.4 billion, whatever it's up to now. So you'll get to see that that will be your career.
Right.
You come in and you may not see the end of it, but you will work your way through it and have an impact. Where else would you have that opportunity to do that type of work? And I think that's why it helped us recruit the people we have.
I agree. I think one of the positives that I've experienced, I've worked for 4 different municipalities in 20 years, and I have to say that Barnstable allows me to try different things out and test the waters and actually discover my own talents that I never knew, and it has allowed me to just grow as an individual so that I can better assist and find ways that I can help move the community forward along with the goals of the council. So I have to say that Barnstable's experience here as a career has just been just unmatched. So, and that's to you both for allowing and creating that environment and supporting that type of environment and knowing the importance that I'm going to say it again. It's not a job. It's a career. It's a professional development and a personal development. It's that's why it's called human resources. It's about humans, and we're just not bodies. We're resources. That's the most valuable asset that we have in our community, our people. So Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with us to talk about this. So.
It's been an enlightening conversation. And there's something that's not on your cheat sheets in front of you here on your rustle of the papers. We're going to do a rapid fire question, and we're going to really dive into something that's a little bit more personal to you as a person here. And I'm going to start with Tammy, and I'm going to ask her, what's your favorite snack?
My favorite snack. So Trader Joe's has these dark chocolate sea salt turbinado sugar almonds.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that's my go-to for me. They're on my desk right now at work.
Maybe I'll get called up to Human Resources a little later today.
They're addictive.
And Bill, I'm going to ask you, and I'm sure we've already had this discussion, but the listeners don't know. So what special talent or hidden talents that you have that not too many people know about?
Well, I have a musical background, so I started out, I played trombone in elementary school, and then I realized that, no offense to trombone players, but sometimes they're not really the coolest things and people on the earth, so I switched to bass guitar, and so I played bass since I was 16, and been in a variety of different bands, and on a bit of a hiatus lately, but that very musical background.
That's really cool.
But bump.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We really, again, appreciate your time. We know how busy you are, and joining us for this episode. And you're not going to want to miss our next episode because it's Anne in the Vault. No, really, we're not kidding. Join us next week for a segment we call Anne in the Vault, when we invite town clerk Anne Quirk back in to talk about the town's vital records, such as birth, marriage, and death certificates, the history and importance of collecting data from certificates, how you can obtain a copy or a recent or even a historic certificate, and other great information, including ways to help your genealogy quest.
Yeah. Thanks, Paula. And again, thank you, Tammy and Bill, for your time. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the Town of Barnstable. We hope that you found a new understanding of your municipal government, how it operates to protect, engage, and enact for you and the community. And be sure to drop us a line at podcast@town.barnstable.ma.us, and please let us know what you would like to learn next. We're really open to those suggestions. So until next time, and thank you again, go discover Barnstable.